right. Welcome, everyone. It's good to be back on track. Of course, we were out here, well, not here, but out on track for the preseason last week. But it's the first official Season 4 race, and ISRL Night here in the comms booth. I got ISRL Feral Fury with me. Yeah. Yeah, like you said, it's a very short circuit. So you make a mistake on one corner, it's gonna come and bite you through the rest of the track. There's not a lot of room to make that ground up. And as we see the cars heading out on track right now, it is a little bit of a cloudy sky. I don't know if weather is gonna come affect us here. But we're going to see the times definitely start to drop because with no sun beating down on the track, it's going to be the cars that increase that track temperature. And as the session moves along here, we got 12 minutes left in it. I think these times are going to start nearing the mid 103s probably, with Victor already at a 104.047 on provisional pole at the moment. Let's just find somebody who's... That's always a good sign when you're able to navigate a circuit like Russia without picking up any penalties. I know I struggle doing that myself, but it's yeah, man to watch. Of course, this is a new division for this season, Division 4. We've had a Tier 4 before, but it wasn't quite the same as this. I'll tell you that. This is, from what I hear, a much more competitive host here with some strong guys pretty much all the way through. But, you know, of course, there's guys like Mushroom on here who got something to prove, as we see Chris getting around the racing point. I think that's come to affect his braking zone a little bit as he goes deep and over the grass. Stayed clear of his teammate, though, on the way back in. So that's good. We might see some more guys joining in the session through qualifying, as I know a couple of drivers have indicated that they'd missed the first couple of minutes. But let's see, who's about to start their hot lap. I think Sprunky has just done so, as he's approaching turn 1. Well done there. You don't want to go too wide on the exit. Of course, this track, you did mention, right? It's a short track. It's not a lot of room to catch up, but it's one of those tracks where the track limits can really come and ruin you. It's very easy to invalidate. Yeah, especially around those final two corners where in real life we see the F1 cars run way wide on the curb. And so in our minds, you know, we've already kind of understood that that's the line you need to take, 'cause that's the line, you know, the F1 drivers are taking. But then you take it and you stick one wheel over that white line and the game just goes, nah, you're not getting that lap. And you got to try all over again. And sometimes you actually got to go around the track twice to get there. As, oh, Sprunky. Yeah, he collects one of the Haas's. I don't know if he just didn't see him or if the Haas slowed down and he was not expecting it. But that's another lap ruin that we've seen. I saw bits of front wing hopping off. Despite that, he sets a 109, which obviously is way off the pace. But considering you plowed into the back of another car and then had to slow down, being 3 seconds off of the guy ahead of you isn't terrible. But now he's going to have to limp his way across the circuit, fix that front wing. And if he does report it, that's 100% going to be a penalty for the other driver, I think. Yeah, and we saw a Racing Point doing the same to Chris Nerazuro. Had a little bit of trouble getting that one out. But luckily for him, there was no contact there, but I did see him swerve quite abruptly, and it 100% ruined his lap. So I think drivers are going to have to be a little bit more vigilant out here as the session progresses. But so far, let's take a look at our top times here. I'll tune in on Kurt as he's just set the third fastest lap. 104.047, 104.167, 104.199, and then 104.295 is our top four. That's within 2/10. And actually, as I say that, Kurt just smashes that time with a 103.6. So pretending that he's still a tenth or 2/10 from the other guys, which obviously he's not anymore, just setting the provisional pole time. Having a close grid in qualifying, how does that translate into the race usually? And it's simultaneously not good to be the car ahead here, because 3 DRS zones, like you mentioned, I think, what is it, some crazy statistic, like 60% of this lap you have your DRS wing open, you know, like if you're in DRS range the whole time. I think that was a statistic that they pulled up when F1 was racing here. And I mean, you look at it, the whole main street is a DRS, the whole way up the hill is a DRS, and then down the hill is a DRS zone. There's a lot of DRS zones here. And so if the guy behind you is in that 1 second range, you have a lot of defending to do, and then you're going to end up using a lot of battery. And as you mentioned, it's a short lap. There's not a whole lot of places where you're safe and you can flip your engine down into lean mix. You can lift and coast. You can recharge that battery if you're under attack from the guy ahead or the guy behind you. Sorry. So it's. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Or if you see a guy battling ahead of you, but you're out of their DRS range, but there's a guy right behind you who's within yours, you could swap places and try to just give each other a small train to catch up to those guys that are battling ahead. You can definitely use your rivals as a competitive advantage here because of the prominence of the DRS here. It's so powerful around this track that I think we're going to see a lot. We're going to see it come into play a lot. But the other thing that directly, as Poison Wild goes second fastest, and once again another driver who's very close to the guys around him, and I don't think we've seen Victor or Cosmo set a lap in a while, so those are going to come down with Cosmo and Al actually starting his lap right now, so we'll stay on board with him. But as I was saying, those braking zones, turn 1 is a sharp-ish braking zone. Right, you can get some decent opportunities, but it being up the hill, it's quite easy to brake late. But this into turn 3 here, this is your prime overtaking opportunity. It's also quite easy to defend. You can easily, if you have the inside line, it's quite easy to just cut their turn in off. So it's going to be interesting to see just how these guys use that DRS advantage. And are they going to be going for the moves down into the braking zones where it is possible to defend a little easily, as Cosmo goes on the grass and that's going to ruin his lap? Or are they going to be maybe attempting something in this twisty bit, in this twisty section here, where a single mistake can send you in the gravel? Yeah. Well, that's a lap, I'll be entirely honest, I was not expecting for Mushroom. I guess consistent is the key for him right now, because yeah, a purple sector doesn't mean much if you've gone on the grass in the other two. So a good lap for Mushroom there as he takes provisional pole by a whole 10th. Yeah, Bakker has as well just set a lap going P3, and remember when I was saying these lap times are gonna fall, they are falling now. A couple of guys in the 103s already. Kurt Valletta coming around now, and I do rather think he's gonna have a shot at beating this coming around the final corner. Yeah, and I don't think he's gonna improve his time, and just barely goes ahead of Mushroom by a 10th, half a 10th. Oh, there's a racing point facing the wrong way there. Yeah, coming out of the, I think that's Rusty Oil Can, whose car is stranded on the exit of turn 1. And how did that end up there, and why was it not despawning? That's a little bit weird. Luciano clipping that wall, so hopefully he doesn't have any front wing damage coming out of the pits, because that would... Yeah, it's weird that at the very least the AI didn't take over that car and drive it off that exit curb, but it's gone now, and that's what matters. I think, is that Nihilist starting his hot lap here? I think he is. Not the cleanest turn one. Yeah, not the cleanest turn one there, as he didn't quite connect with that apex. You saw a good foot and a half probably away from there. It is a tricky turn, but it's a turn one that you really want to take a lot of inside curb on. If you do it well, if you can clear your front right wheel off of that yellow curb by bringing it just at the right angle on the inside of it, you can just go over that curb, and your car's not gonna get unsettled or anything. But you can also go right on the other side of it and lose minimal time. But if you start going a foot, 2 feet wide of the apex, then you're just losing at least a tenth or two just on the exit. And then down the hill, as you get a worse acceleration, it turns into many more. So interesting to see as he invalidates there on the last lap. I am curious to see what that lap time would have been. And it would have been, 104.1, and that would have brought him up to P5, or P6 right now. So it was still a solid lap from Nihilist there. Chris coming around the finish line here. He's going to improve, but marginally, by 300ths of a second. So that's not going to move him up any positions. We do have a Williams of Victor coming around here, and let's see if he can take back his provisional pole from earlier. He does improve, but not enough. He goes 4th fastest, and that's going to be the end of his qualifying unless he can set another lap right here. And is he going to go for it? I think he's going for it. I think he's going to go for another one. Let's tune in with Poison. Yeah, let's tune in with Poison as he's coming around, and that's commentator's curse is right when we tune in. He goes a little bit wide, but that would have been P2 for Poison. So unfortunate mistake for him. Nihilist did come around again. I think he's going to go for another one, as that was an improvement from Nihilist. 104.7, and that brings him up to P8. Cosmo coming around the line. He's invalidated, but he does have time right now. That was a slow lap. That was his out lap, or his recovery lap, and he's going for it here. So there's a Red Bull that went wide, and Cosmo reacting, just a little overreaction to where that Red Bull was, dips a wheel on the grass, and that is going to affect his lap, but he's not that far from his time as he makes a mistake there, and I think that's going to be the end of his qualifying. Luciano coming around. He's going to start his last lap just in time as he sets it into hot lap and goes for it. We'll tune in with him as he comes around. Is that Luis? No, that's not. Luis has not set a lap time yet. Do you know what happened to him? Maybe just, probably just some bad luck then. As I'm trying to pull up our comments here, but I have some random YouTube stories keep playing. Let's take a look during the intermission at our comments. Kurt is not on a hot lap, I believe. It's Cosmo coming around. Cosmo's going in the pits. Who's coming around the line next? Luis is. And he's going to go P14. Kurt Valletta improves his time. We saw him cross the line there, and does improve, so solidifies his hold on P1. Luciano coming around the penultimate corner here, around the last corner, and it's tricky on the exit. Doesn't invalidate. Goes just as wide as he could. Does not improve his lap time, though. Take a look at Sprunky, who's the next across the line, and he's up on his time. And around the final corner, Sprunky, who has set a 109, sets a 104.2. And look at those gaps right in the middle there from 5 to 8. Exact same kind of gaps we were seeing earlier before the times improved. Mushroom, I think, has had a bit of an off there. I think, is that Bacher coming across the line? It is, but he's down on his time and is not going to improve. And and I think Luis is actually... No, Luis has invalidated, so let's keep a look at Yubo, as he goes very wide there, but keeps it under control. Does not... actually does improve his lap time, but does not improve his position as he stays... Or did he match his lap time? I think he's just matched his lap time. I just saw him set a 1:04.295, and that was the same time as his first lap. So, yeah, setting identical qualifying lap times, at least you know you're going to be consistent. And, yeah, I think that's the end of qualifying. And Curvaletta on pole position. Mushroom, P2. That's like good qualifying from Mushroom. Bacher just ever so slightly behind him, 0.02 of a second from the front row in P3. And we'll take you down the rest of the order. We've got some comments saying that they can't hear your mic a whole lot, Farrell. So we'll just have to check that. Maybe I don't know if it's the volume or the audio sharing settings, but we should check that out. Sorry if the stream cut for a second. Lou is saying, I swear Mushroom was T2 pace. I think that's T2 pace right there. 1:03.5. That's a pretty good lap time. There's some people greeting each other in the chat, and a couple of guys just having some conversations. But let's take you down the order. Kurt Valletta, 1 and 2 with Mushroom as his partner Bacher and Victor. And I did not read that quick enough because it's disappeared. So, guys, let us know if you start... yeah, so not at all they hear you, apparently. So I think it might be the audio sharing settings. So sorry if the stream cuts for just a second. I think you have to go to in your actual settings there. Yeah, it's if you go in your settings. Sorry if the mic is if the stream is showing you a blue screen. I will be back very shortly. It's sharing and broadcast, and then audio sharing settings. You want to make sure all three are ticked. And on my end, I'll make sure that we do hear a lot of party audio. I was already at the max. Perfect. Guys, let us know if that's still the case. But yeah, let us know in the stream comments. Yeah, if you guys heard that, let us know. Yeah, now that I can actually take you down the order, Kurt Valletta and Mushroom, like I said, front row. Bacher and Victor starting on the second row. Then you got Poison in the Haas. Asunix had heard what, so I'm going to assume that they can't hear, which is very weird. Because all the settings are right, we still can't hear them. Give me a second, guys. We got a formation lap to figure this out, and we'll give it our best go. It's a short formation lap. This Stunik says, I want to hear the Irishman. I'll let you know there's a little delay between when the stream this shows. But yeah, after Poison is Cosmo in the Racing Point, Sprunky qualifying P7, Yubo Angela in the Alpha Tower P8, Nihilus P9, Luciana P10, Krishna Nerazuro, that's a mouthful, P11, always Rick P12, Rusty Oil Can P13, and then we got Rosalenberg, Luis, and Bart Jamek. I think I'm saying that right. So the two Renaults kind of rounding out the pack there. Not the qualifying they wanted, but at least they got two cars in the race, which is more than we can say about some of these teams. So there's still a solid shot at the points here. Let's set our tire data up. And if we got any more issues with the mic, we'll figure that one out later, because we got 3, 4, and 5 lights here in Austria. And for Season 4, they're getting held just a little bit. Oh, I hear the engines revving. I'm excited. We're about to launch on Season 4, and they're off. And it's a good start from Kurt Valletta. Not the best of starts from Mushroom, as he's under pressure from that Red Bull already. Bakker trying to squeeze it around the outside, forces Mushroom to take kind of a sharp line there, and I'm sure he's picked up warnings of Red Bull around there in the back, and it's always Rick, and I think he's collected Rusty Oil Can, and I do want to say Chris was involved in there too. He's got some wing damage. But it looks like everybody is getting through okay. And then through turn 3, Kurt Valletta leading from Mushroom, from Bakker, who was not able to take that position off the start. Victor, P4, Poison Wild, and Sprunky and Luba going side by side there. Yeah, side by side. And they're still side by side. And it's Sprunky's just going to get squeezed out a little bit there. Has to slot in behind if he wants to make that corner. But now he's under pressure from the Racing Point Cosmo, who's lost some positions off the start. Trying to make them back here. Looking all over the back of that Ferrari. But there's no passing opportunity. I think he's going to try it anyways. He gets a better run. And he does. Cosmo getting ahead of Sprunky there through the penultimate corner as we finish lap 1. And it looks like all the cars have started to slot in. But here we got a 3-way battle as Cosmo, Sprunky, and Nihilus are all over each other. These cars are separated by absolutely nothing. And down the straight here, there is a yellow flag in Sector 3. I think that's just somebody pulling into the pits. And Sprunky not able to get the run he wanted here down the straight as DRS is not open yet. And that opened the door a little bit for Nihilus, but now as Cosmo gets a very poor exit. Look at that, Sprunky all over the rear diffuser of that Racing Point. And into turn 4 here. Is he going to send one? He is going to try to send one down the inside. And squeezing him out. You don't want to do like Hamilton and Albon here. The good job there from both drivers, giving each other space. And it's Sprunky who comes out ahead there of that battle, but maybe not for long, as DRS opening very soon as we're getting our first penalties now of this Grand Prix. Kurt Valletta, though, starting to build a little bit of a gap. Very good indeed. Bakker picking up the first there of the front runners to pick up a penalty. Not what he wants there, as he's fighting for a possible race win if he can catch up. All over the back of Mushroom, though, and once DRS opens, as we mentioned during qualifying, it's going to be absolutely deadly. Guys, in the chat, if you still can't hear Farrell, let us know. I know Estunik told us that make sure your mic is set to prioritize party chat audio over game sounds. Yeah, I mean, I checked my settings. They all look just fine. I haven't had that issue before, but I'm seeing some position switching, and it's Sprunky and Cosmo again. We're still side by side. And there was a little bit of contact there as Sprunky was trying to slot in behind Cosmo, but it looks like both of them got out okay. It was just some front wing to tire contact. No damage on either car. And Cosmo is back in P7, and that's before the DRS open. These guys have already swapped positions 3 times. 3 times, and we're not even at the end of lap 3. Kurt Valletta sets the fastest lap as this track starts to heat up. Cosmo getting a bad exit there. We saw him get all out of shape, and that's going to give Sprunky the opportunity to catch up. And into turn 1, not close enough to make a move there, but with DRS opening this lap, we're going to see that rear wing open right there, and that's going to be no chance there for Cosmo. And ahead, no chance, I think, for Victor, as Victor and Poison going to turn 3 side by side, and it's going to be Poison getting ahead of that as he gets a slightly better exit, and Victor's going to have to slot in behind the Haas. A good move there from Poison. Sprunky is ahead of Cosmo, and now Cosmo is under pressure from Nihilus, who's going to try the same move Sprunky tried last time. Lots of room given. That's a lot of respect from Cosmo, maybe a little bit too much, as he dips a wheel in the grass there, and that was not Nihilus's fault. There was a lot of room given, a lot of room between the 2 cars, and Cosmo just making a small mistake, and it's cost him a position. Yeah, so far, that's some great racing we've been seeing. Very clean. So a lot of Kyle's saying still can't hear you. I don't know why. We're getting some issues with the mic, but it's very weird indeed. If you're, that's all right. I'll carry on until we get this fixed. It's a good race, and so it's easy to commentate. By the way, if I'm saying Lubo Angelov's name wrong, please correct me, because I actually have no idea how to say it. I'm purely guessing at this point. So yeah, if I got that wrong, please let me know. But he's in P5 after getting ahead of Victor. We saw that a few laps ago near the start, but now it's Victor catching back up after that Poison overtaking both of them. Sorry, Victor dropping down the field and then catching back up, but I don't think he's going to be able to catch for too much longer because Sprunky is closing in, and Sprunky looks like he's had some great pace so far this race. So of course, seeing him with that battle with Nihilus and Cosmo, now he's pulling away from the two of them, and catching up to these two ahead. Victor not close enough to take a move there. He might be close enough here, as I saw that ERS recharge light flashing from the AlphaTauri. And up the hill he goes. Yeah, that's an easy move. Oh, he goes really deep, though. Completely missed his braking zone. He's going to hit the wall. What happened there with Victor? He had the move done and dusted, and he's completely missed his braking zone, and he's gone straight into the wall there at the end of turn 3. And that's a lot of positions lost as he rejoins right ahead of Luciano, who's also suffered something as he's dropped far, from the pack there. I'm not sure what happened with that Ferrari, but not the move that Victor wanted there, not the race he wanted, as he qualified very well prior to this, and now he's just been having some issues, I think, with the handling, the race handling of that Williams. Dropping behind Luis as well, as that damaged front wing is certainly hampering him. We're going to be on board, though, with our leaders for the time being, and I do think that Williams is going to be diving into the pits. And yeah, he is, so that's going to be a front wing change. It's Lubo. Just tell me if Lubo is the right pronunciation, and I'll keep saying it. But thank you for the comments, Gabriel. 19 people watching. Some good attendance for inaugural Season 4 race, so thank you to everyone who's tuned in so far. And thank you to everyone who's dropped one of the many comments we've had. We're excited to get racing here in Season 4. We have a whole week of Austrian Grand Prix planned. We got Formula Fridays here, streamed now, new this season, on Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And then, of course, Sunday is our big race day, as we got Divisions 3, 2, and 1 racing consecutively here, basically all day. And it's going to be a great weekend of racing. Austria is such a nice track to launch a season on. It's a short track. It's a track that's not crazy hard to learn, so everyone is at least semi-competitive there. But I'm going to finish that story later, because Sprunky is trying a move. He gets squeezed. Oh, he gets spun. And Lubo just not giving Sprunky the room he deserves. Sprunky's got to be very careful here, because he's in the pit lane exit. We know how quickly this game will disqualify you if you're blocking it. I think he gets around again. Yeah, he does. And Sprunky, that's devastating, because that was a perfectly timed move, and Lubo just not giving him the room he deserved there. And I think, if that gets reported, I do want to say that's going to be a penalty. We had it on board there on the stream, and just no room on the apex, as it's going to open the door now for Nihilus to make a move on Lubo. But by the way, guys, if you start hearing Farrell, please let me know, because I'm gonna let him talk more if I know that you guys can hear him. So yeah, Gabriel says I nailed it. So it is Lubo. It is a Lubo. Bakker into the pit. So our first pit stop there of the leaders. Bakker trying for the undercut. Is this the right call? Lap 9 out of 36. Well, that's what I'm thinking, and he's put the softs back on. So yeah, the 100% going to be a 2-stop, because he was on the softs at first. So a 2-stop from Bakker, going for the harder on the tire strategy. Oh, who is that? Cosmo, who's had a spin? No, it's not. It's Rusty Oil Can who's had a spin after the pit exit there, and he's Definitely not. 30. Yeah, he got caught up in that turn 1 incident. We saw him at the back. I think he just managed to unfortunately collect that Red Bull who was spinning at the start, and not the race he's wanted so far, as he's down in last place there. And as Russiel kind of gets a little bit more trouble going further up the track there, Poison is catching up to Mushroom, and that's a great camera angle. So we see the gap between the two cars heading up the hill into turn 1, and it's all about the exits here. And Poison does get a better exit. A much better exit than Mushroom. In fact, he's going to get the DRS, and I don't know if he's going to be close enough here. He's certainly going to be much closer on the next straightaway into turn 4. Oh, he's almost on him. He's almost inside of Mushroom because of how much he was able to close up in the braking zone. And is he going to be able to make a move here on Mushroom? He's going to look down the inside. Mushroom going a little bit defensive, but not defensive enough, as Poison sends that one down the inside and makes the move stick. Beautiful overtake from Poison. But Mushroom does not have any penalties yet, so if he can just stay close to Poison, he's going to get the position back. I know there's a lot of laps left in this race, but it's always... Exactly. One thing that these two don't want to do is fight too much, because Kurt Valletta is right up the circle. Oh, actually, Mushroom is going to be diving into the pits as well. And ZP, he almost lost it on the pit entry there, as a little too eager to get back on the throttle, but he keeps it under control. We're going to stay on board with Mushroom. Actually, we're not, because there is an overtake on track right now as Lubo gets past Nihilus. I was going to say, is Mushroom going to be going on the soft tires? Yeah, Nihilus going back, Mushroom going on the medium tires, so our first different call of strategy there. But Nihilus sending it down the inside, makes it stick, takes that corner beautifully. And I thought for a second that he wasn't going to make that corner. His car looked like he got a little bit upset in that braking zone, but kept it back under control. Very beautifully done there by the McLaren driver. Are you guys able to hear Farrell yet? Because nobody's answered me. Oh, actually, Stunik did answer. Nope, can't hear him. Have you tried unplugging and plugging it back in? Somebody's saying that I can, put it in purple, but it's only if you have the fastest lap graphic up that it turns into purple. And right now it is purple. Oh, that's not what I wanted. There you go. So in the stops, we've had a couple of stops so far, Bacher and Mushroom, and Bacher's actually jumped Mushroom quite a bit there in the pit stop, as Poison is now pitting, or actually has pitted. He's coming back out now. Oh, and what is that? Mushroom on Sprunky. That got very close. That was a daring move for Mushroom, and almost made it work, but the two kept it clean enough there, as coming out of the pits, we weren't even on board with them. We saw that from the from Poison's camera. And oh, Sprunky goes a little bit deep there. I don't know if there's some contact, but Mushroom's going to be able to take the position here. They both have DRS because of Poison, and they're side by side. It's so close. Sprunky is on the better tire here. Mushroom's still going to try down the inside. They're very close, but Mushroom has that inside line. He's got the right to that line, and keeping it clean with Sprunky, as on the exit they got super close to contact. But all is good as Mushroom makes it stick. That's some good racing from Mushroom, despite getting a little bit close. He's kept it clean, he's kept it out of the wall, and on to Poison now. But Mushroom is on the medium tires. There is a possibility of him going to the end of this race. I think Sprunky's going to be pitting. Yes, he is. But yeah, Mushroom might be able to get to the end of this race if he keeps it clean, if he makes those tires last, if there's not too many lockups, but it's going to be very marginal. Now, it looks like everybody else is going to be pitting here. Nihilus in the pits, Lubo right behind him. So no overcut, no undercut there from the AlphaTauri. He's sticking with his rival. He goes, all right, if he's pitting, I'm pitting. I want to stay close to him. I want to know where he's at on track. And immediately putting on the soft tires as well. And actually, Nihilus is going for the two-stop. Lubo on the mediums might still turn into a two-stop because of the tire decks around this track. 23 laps he's going to have to make those medium tires last. Let's see. And yeah, indeed. So he's in the pits right now. He's coming out of the pit exit. Bakker, who's right on the back of Barja in the Renault, who's done a tremendous job bringing his car up the field there from pretty much the back. And look at how close Bakker is coming out to Kurt Valletta, and he's all over the rear of that Renault, but they're both all over the rear of that Mercedes. And is Bakker going to be trying a double overtake here? Not close enough from the Mercedes to make it stick, but he is close enough to the Renault to get ahead of him. And now onto the attack of Kurt Valletta. Of course, Bakker on a different pit strategy, but if he can slow that leader down, if he can bring him closer to Mushroom, to Nihilus, to Lupo, these guys might have a chance at the win here, but it basically rests in the hands of Bakker getting past Kurt and then slowing him down sufficiently for an extended period of time. And Poison has jumped Mushroom, I believe, through the pit stop. Because Mushroom was ahead of Poison before this, wasn't he? Definitely, because yeah, Poison just able to jump ahead there. And once Barja pits, once Bakker pits on his other set of tires, Poison has he's looking at a podium here if he can make those mediums last. Bakker's still ever so close to the rear of that Mercedes. He's been able to clear that Renault by quite a bit, already 2.4 seconds behind, but now 0.6 behind Kurt Valletta, and it's going down. It was just over a second. Just under a second at the start of the lap, and now it went down to 0.5. It's back up to 0.8. I think Bakker definitely has the advantage down the straights, and Kurt Valletta just running more aero. Sprunky and Cosmo at it again. These guys just not giving up on track. We've seen these two, and I think just about every battle so far. And Sprunky able to get ahead there. I don't know who was ahead at first, but Cosmo has the soft tires on, so he's got the increased grip, but it doesn't look like it's working too much for him, as Sprunky able to take those corners with much more speed. Our McCrew says hello, Stunik, with the award for most comments in the stream. I think as just about every second comment is him. Just kidding, Billy. Please keep commenting. Cosmo, what is that dip onto the grass from Sprunky? I don't know if it was a moment of inattention or just too much defending, but it's allowed Cosmo to close that gap right up and into the braking zone. He's forced to give him room on the exit. Actually, I think they touched a little bit as that racing point. It looked upset on the curve, and Sprunky managed to get ahead, and I don't know how clean that overtake was. We had a bad camera angle for it, but it definitely looked like some contact was made. McCrew says I accidentally joined the stream. Well, you're welcome to stay, buddy. Like, nobody's forcing you to leave. We're very happy that you're here, McCrew. And yeah, Barja in the pits has cleared up Poison, as you said. Bakker, who is still very close to Kurt Valletta, just seemingly not able to make those soft tires, that grip advantage he has, work in his favor. But let's pull up the telemetry here and let's see who's actually pushing. Well, I know it's not a super accurate metric of measurement, but they both got about the same overtake, which I think means they're pushing just about as hard here. But Kurt Valletta definitely getting ahead as the grip on those soft tires starts to fade. There is a yellow flag on track. That's just actually Bakker's teammate retiring in the pits there. Always Rick and Rusty Oil Can are first two victims of the Austrian Grand Prix. And I
think, I mean, I hope there aren't many more, but I definitely get a feeling we're not going to be finishing with 14 drivers here. What this does mean is that every driver finishing now will get points. So, always Rick, I know he probably does not want to sit through another 18 laps of being last of the running cars, but throwing away an easy, basically free point there, possibly more if other people DNF. So, maybe not the best idea. I missed who you're talking about. Oh, Rosa. And he actually is going to be pitting right now. So is he going to be switching that front wing? No, we'll have to see. Let's see who's close-ish on track other than Bacher and Kurt Valletta. I think Nihilist, who's got Lubo. Is that Lubo behind him, or is that a lapped car? I think that's Victor, actually, who's right behind him. But he's trying to catch up to Mushroom. Mushroom, though, is catching up to Poison, and not by a little bit. That gap has been steadily coming down, and as we're looking at it on stream, they made a little mistake in that corner that's allowed it to come back up. But that was going very, very steadily down that entire lap. So Mushroom, maybe a little bit of pace advantage despite the older tires here. Yeah, and I think a safety car would help quite a lot of people, but Bacher more than most, because as those soft tires start to fall off here, and actually let's take a look at the penalties before we say who gets the biggest advantage. Bacher with 6 seconds already. Luis with 12, he's got the most, but still a surprising amount of people with no penalties here. I think Bacher, yeah, a safety car would help, but that 6 seconds is definitely going to hinder him, I think, at the end of this Grand Prix. You can see just how that grip is starting to fall from those tires. 10 laps old, and they aren't going to last much more than 12 or 13 around here. So that pit window is opening very soon for Bacher. Very, very soon. And it's as Cosmo picks up a penalty. And that's one of the guys who didn't have it. But Bacher doing a very good job at staying a consistent distance from Kurt Valletta, isn't he? He hasn't been... I think he's... Oh, yeah, I thought he made a mistake there, but no, he was just taking a different line to be able to get into the pits carrying a little bit more speed. And if there's a safety car here, I mean, it's gonna play into Bacher's advantage. A safety car between here and I think when the rest of this grid falls into their pit window, it's gonna be able to, if not, get in the lead, because Kurt Valletta might pit here if there's a safety car just to get on a better tire. But he's got a good chance here. But safety cars, when the field is spread out like this, don't come easy. So it's going to take somebody to have a massive crash all on their own, and for the game to register that there's enough drivers close to them to trigger the safety car, because that's how the game works. If you have a massive crash but there's nobody near you, they're not going to call a safety car. You need to have somebody near you when you crash. So not looking super likely for Bacher, but not completely out of the realm of possibility either. I think we are going to get a battle here because Cosmo's coming out of the pits right behind Chris. Well, it looked a lot closer on the minimap, but there is a lot of room or time to catch up. And just like that, our smallest gap has been transformed. It's now Cosmo chasing Chris, and Cosmo with the fresh tires, Chris with the old worn-out softs. I think I know who the winner's going to be here. And not to spoil anything, but their name starts with a C. So, Mo accidentally left the stream, says Vito. Um, I think he has, because we haven't seen him comment in a little bit. Maybe he's too invested into this racing. And, yeah, so Luciano not having maybe the race he wanted here in his inaugural, or his ISRL debut, really. He's raced for us before, but I mean, he still races for ISRL because he hosts the academy. So, technically all of his races are ISRL races. But his Division 4 debut, I should be saying. As Cosmo finally getting a run up on Chris. That's an easy move before the straight is even done there. Chris just not getting a lot of traction on the side. Oh no! But Cosmo's made a big mistake and he's kept it out of the wall. And that's great for him. What's not great is that overtake he had just done is now 4.7 seconds ahead of him on the road. And a guy who wasn't even in his thoughts just a few seconds ago is now 4.3 seconds behind him in victory in that Williams. And yeah, indeed, Bakker is closing in. Is Lubu having a pit again? I wasn't sure if we had settled on those tires lasting to the end. I think he'll be fine. Yeah, but that could describe most people on this track right now. A lot of guys hopping on those mediums, maybe a little bit too early, trying to cover some overcuts or undercuts from guys around them. Are they going to be able to stick to a one-stop? The track isn't crazy hot here today, so. Of course, we see the clouds in the sky. It's gotten cloudier as the session has progressed, and that's helped with track temperatures, no doubt. And so a little bit less wear on the tires if that track temperature is lower. Yeah, 0.5 seconds from Bakker, and well within the DRS range, but not close enough to make a move here, as he's still quite a ways away. But in the braking zone, able to really, really close up to Lubo. And in the acceleration zone, you can see just sticking much closer to that AlphaTauri than probably Lubo wants him to. Not the best turn there with that dirty air just washing over that front wing, forcing him a little bit wide. That's going to give Lubo an advantage into the penultimate corners. As again, that dirty air just meaning that Bakker has to slow down a tiny bit more for the corners. Doesn't look like it's going to affect him too much there, as he's able to start closing in and not able to close the gap down the straight, but in the braking zone actually gets so close that he's going to spin both of them out. There's contact there between Bakker, and that didn't look like the kind of contact that would cause a two-car collision or a two-car wreck. And that's the safety car we're talking about. And in a cruel twist of irony, the guy we thought was going to benefit the most from it is not only caused it, but it's going to have to pit as a result. And Lubo, I think Lubo has front wing damage as well. And that's a disaster for Bakker, disaster for Lubo. They're both running so well. And now we have a safety car. And I was on board with Lubo, looking behind at Bakker when that contact was made. And we saw him creep up, and it didn't even look like the contact was too hard. And Lubo spinning from it, I can understand he was already in the acceleration zone when that contact was made, but it looked like Bakker his car just went the same way as Lubo, just mimicked his pirouette. And unfortunate spin for Bakker. It looked almost like a sympathy spin. Well, that's... yeah, we don't have the weather report. Doesn't look like it's raining, though. So unless there's... Jeff has told him the rain is imminent. I think there might have been a slight blunder in the pit stop there from Luis. Luckily for him, there's only Rosa Lindbergh behind him, and he's going to be able to pit. He's not going to lose too much time if this is a short safety car, as the field bunches up rather quickly there.
Of course, I should mention this. It's going to be interesting to see how many guys actually clue into this rule. We did post it today. We made sure to highlight it to these drivers. It is in our rule books, and new rule for this year, and essentially says that lapped cars on the safety car restart must peel over to the pit wall on the restart, and let the lead lap cars carry on with their race without impeding. Has he? Is there rain coming and we don't know about it? Or is there just a few mistakes there from the pit crew? And yeah, this is a little bit confusing. I'll admit it. This guy has gotten cloudier, but it's not raining yet, so I don't know why there'd be some intermediates. But yeah. Anyways, the rule. Yeah. So they got the lap drivers got to peel over. Hug the pit wall, and then once all the lead lap cars clear them, they can carry on racing in whichever order that they were in. So to basically make sure that these lap cars don't impede the lead lap drivers as they're trying to resume. Of course, they ghost, but if you're trying to take a corner and you enter a ghosted car right in your braking zone or right when you're trying to hit the apex, it can easily throw you completely off. And so, I keep interrupting myself because the rain has just fallen, and I noticed that Sprunky did not hit off those intermediates, and neither did Luis, which means they obviously knew that something was coming. And when I interrupted myself, I saw those raindrops fall, but there's only 9 laps left. Is that enough for this track to get so wet that the pace advantage and this extra wear that they're putting on the intermediate tires on this dry track, is there enough laps left in this race for it to pay off? Or did these guys pit way too early? And on a wet track like this, or a dampening track like this, I should say, because it's not wet yet. What is that? It looks like they're almost racing. They're off. Actually, oh, they are off. I didn't even get the notice that the safety car was coming in. And some good. There you go. Chris knew exactly the rule. He's let that lead pack go right through. And oh, it's Poison had a spin. Poison has had a spin. I didn't even see that the safety car was coming in. It went in, and they immediately started racing. And Poison has had a spin there, and that's not what you want. Let's tune into the front here, because this is where the action is going to be. I was talking about Mushroom making a good decision, and sorry if that was all over the place. I was really confused on that restart. I was talking about Mushroom making a good decision because on a dampening racetrack, you want to be on a fresh set of softs. They're the easiest to heat up. They got the most grip out of any of the slicks, and there's not a lot of laps left, so he doesn't have to worry about tire longevity. But this rain does look like it's increasing, and not super slowly. So is that a stroke of genius from Sprunky and Luis to get on those intermediates so early? Yeah, and a few laps, that's not an understatement, I'll tell you that, as I think that's the Williams of Victor getting out of the way of Mushroom. Does a good job not to impeding there. Thought about moving aside on the main straight, realized he wasn't really close enough to give that position there, but Mushroom, who is closing in rather rapidly. That gap was 3 seconds at this spot last lap. It is now 8 tenths, and those fresh medium tires, if Mushroom can make those last until the end of this race, is that a win for Mushroom in the bag? It's too early for the intermediates. Kurt Valletta is on very used mediums, which means as soon as this track is a little bit too damp for slicks, it's way too damp for used mediums. And all over the back of Nihilus, yeah, it's going to be a very easy overtake for Mushroom. Yeah, look at that. It's not even a good overtaking zone there, but he's made it work because of that grip advantage he has. And onto the back of Kurt Valletta, it's going to be very interesting to see that gap start to fall here. 4.4 seconds We've got to keep that in mind. 4.4 seconds at the start of lap 30. And can he bring that down without losing the rear, losing the car on this quickly dampening racetrack? He's already down to 3.9, and Mushroom might have just had the best strategy out of any car that's pitted. And, oh, Lucianoc has had a spin there. There's nobody near him on the racetrack. Oh, there's a VSC. There's a VSC, and that's going to help Mushroom even more, I think, because it's gonna allow him to just rest those tires a little bit and keep some of that best life that's in them. And yeah, look at that, Lucianoc. I think he spun it on the curb there. It's hit the wall, and that Ferrari is most definitely out of this race. And Marshall Kurt Valletta, yeah, so 3.2-ish seconds, and we're going to go back to green here. I'm just going to see if anybody has picked up a drive-through, and Roselandberg has picked up a drive-through. Luis, while he may have had a good idea with the intermediates, has not had a good idea with track limits, as he's got 22 seconds of penalties. And since I think Nihilist was on 17 lap old soft tires. And I think right there explains why he's dove into the pits there. I don't think those tires had any life left in them whatsoever. Oh, look at that. Kurt Valletta going very wide. Oh, Mushroom, no, he saves it. Oh, Mushroom did the same, but not as wide, and then getting on the curb. He saw that rear end step out just a little bit. He saves it. I was really scared he was going to go into the wall there. But that gap is down to 1.5 seconds. If I'm Mushroom right now, okay, I stay on these tires. If Kurt pits, I stay on these tires. I don't pit. You have the best tires out of anybody, bar Barcia and Lubo, who are on the same tires as you. And look at how slow Kurt has to go through these corners. And you see that car, Mushroom, this car is just getting a little bit hesitant there in the acceleration because the track is getting so wet. And Mushroom just going right around Kurt. And it takes the lead as Kurt pits. And we got Mushroom in the lead, and we got 5 laps to go. And Mushroom, we saw how much extra pace he had. One thing we haven't seen is the intermediates have any pace because Sprunky is still falling from the back of the pack, and he's our lead runner on the intermediates. It's not time to... I know it's raining a lot. I don't think it's time to pit right now. DRS is still enabled. I think DRS is an... Oh, there's a little bit of contact. Sorry, there's a little bit of contact between Barcia and Lubo into the turn 3 braking zone. And Mushroom's already 3 seconds ahead of P2 Renault. He's just got to keep it clean. He's got to keep it clean, and it's his. Actually, Kurt Valletta is starting to catch up a little bit there. I think the intermediates I think we've reached that crossover point. Sprunky and Kurt Valletta look to be gaining just ever so slightly on the guys ahead of them. And I think we've reached the crossover point right now. It's going to be interesting to see what Mushroom does here. He's going to stay out. That's a smart decision with this many laps left in the race. So, did we just miss an overtake into the pit lane? Oh, very well done by Lubo. Yeah, if I'm Mushroom, I can't fault him for staying out here. He's got a significant gap to the first car on turns behind him. He's got 3.5 laps to go. This is a 3-minute lap time in the dry. It's a 1 minute lap time in the dry. So 3 laps to go. That's 3 minutes in the dry. Obviously a little bit more than that on the softs on a wet track. We actually, Cosmo, with full wets there. Don't think it's quite time for the full wets. But Mushroom, if he can just limp around the track and not spin, he just has to make sure Kurt cannot catch up a 12-second gap. It's going down very quickly. I don't know if it's going to be enough for Mushroom. Yeah, and Kurt has made those intermediates work for him, but I think Mushroom is committed to the strategy too much. If he pits now, then it's lose-lose.
because he's missing out on that increased pace he could have had, or the undercut he could have had by going on the inters early. But he's also missing out on all this pace that he would have had, that he's losing. Or sorry, I know what I'm trying to say. I know it makes no sense to you guys, but Mushroom is lose-lose right now, okay? As he gets very, very out of shape coming out of turn one. We can see just how much how much water is on the track now. And yeah, I do think DRS has been disabled at this point. I didn't see the notification on my screen, but I do have my wheel in the way, and Mushroom goes wide again. Yeah, and it's well into wet or intermediate tire territory here. But with lap 34 out of 36, you got to go for it. And he's probably not going to cross the line, P1. He's probably not going to cross the line, P3 at this point, because Sprunky and Nihilus are right behind. But if you can cross that line in the top 5, I would be happy with that, because you went for the strategy, you went for it, and if it doesn't pay off, you still went for it. Kurt Valeto's right behind him. He's gained over 8 seconds this lap alone. And just to show you the difference of pace, I think if the rain had fallen just a little bit slower for Mushroom, then this strategy would have been brilliant, and we honestly would have included it in our highlights of the year at the end, I think, because to be able to make those soft tires last through the rain would have been absolutely fantastic. But I think we have to apologize to Sprunky here, because we said multiple times that it was the bad call. It was not a smart idea. It was way too early. Who's P2 right now? It's Sprunky. Wouldn't you know? Absolutely. And Luis has not had the same luck. Luis was not able to catch up to the safety car queue. And I think, actually, speaking of Luis, I think he's just had a moment there coming out of turn 1. Yeah, I did see the yellow flag. But, he hasn't had the same opportunities as Sprunky, because he was further back from the pack on the restart, but still was able to get himself up into P9 from well outside the top 10, and Sprunky was P7, I think, on the restart. He's now in P2, so great strategy from a few of these guys. And while it looked to be in Mushroom's pocket, it looked like he was just gonna, come home with a whip out of nowhere. The weather has just spoiled his plans. And he's falling down the order now, down to P5. It's going to be P6 soon, but he's got one more lap to go. I think he can just hold on to it. He's going to finish P6, which honestly would not be mad in his circumstance. That's it. He tried the strategy. It didn't work out like he wanted to, but you still got to be proud of that effort. Yeah, so this track is obviously way too wet for soft tires, but in what's helping Mushroom is that there's a 27-second gap to the car behind here. So so long as he's able to keep it more or less under control, I think he'll be okay. But coming around the end here, we didn't have a whole lot of overtaking here in this wet period, this intermediate period. Despite the safety car restart, just because on the safety car restart, everybody was still on the slicks, except for like 2 guys. And they all had to pit for the inters later, so I think it took a little bit of those overtaking moments away, but did make it a bad race nonetheless, as Kurt Valletta crosses the line, P1, Sprunky P2, and Nihilus crosses P3, takes second place away from Sprunky on penalties there, as he kept his nose just a little bit cleaner. Lupo crossing P4. That's a good race from Lupo. Bartja, who started, P16, P14? Crosses P5. And excellent job from the Renault Mushroom, limping that Alfa Romeo home in P6 on the slicks. And props to him for sticking through the strategy. That could have been one of the best calls of the year. Unfortunately for him, that wasn't the case. That doesn't mean it was a bad call by any means, though, as Bakker getting a little too over-enthusiastic crossing the line there. And he's going to come home P7. The guys behind him are all a lap down. And so P8 for Victor, Chris in P9, and Luis in P10. Rose Lindbergh is going to come home in P11 as Cosmo is actually a little bit more down than the Renault. And so P11 for Rose Lindbergh, Cosmo P12, and points for all of the finishers. The guys with DNF, I think one of them is eligible for points because they completed more than 90% of the race distance. But we'll have to double check there as Bartja gets the in-game driver of the day, well deserved. And yeah, what a race, guys! Sprunky in our comments already saying what a race. That was a very, very good race. Yeah, honestly, what can I say? We saw some very bold strategies, and they did not work. They did not pan out in I don't think remotely the way we were expecting. I thought Sprunky had made the biggest mistake of the race going on those inters. It's turned out into probably the best call of the race. So great one from all the drivers. Kurt Valletta, who you called it right in qualifying, said, "Hey, watch out for Kurt Valletta. He's gonna be the one to watch this race." Got to give you props for that, Farrell. Spot on as he gets P1 Nihilus, P2 from P9 on the grid, and Sprunky P3 from P7 on the grid. After that, it's Lubo, Bart, Mushroom, Bacher, Victor, Chris, and Luis rounding out the top 10. And yeah, what can I say? Oh, fastest lap from Victor. Missed that one. So he gets the extra point. What can I say? I mean, that was a great race. We saw a little bit of weather. We saw a little bit of overtaking. We saw a little bit of crashing. We saw a little bit of strategy. A little bit of everything in this race. And it's always what you like to see, especially to launch Season 4 like this. I don't know. I honestly, I still don't know if these guys can hear you. But do you have any parting words? Oh, absolutely. So long as I'm still working from home, I'll be here in the commentary booth on Wednesday. So don't miss our race. We'll be back not next Wednesday, but this Friday for Formula Fridays, and then again on the weekend for the main divisions. So thank you all for tuning in, guys. It's been absolutely great. I don't know if we're gonna be trying some interviews here, but. I don't know what the status on Kurt and the likes having a mic there. I mean, we might as well give it a go. We'll have to switch parties though because the party system is stupid on PlayStation now. Lucy saying great comms. Thank you, Luciano. Vito speaking in Croatian or something. Don't know what he's saying, or Czech, or I don't know what that language is. Looks Eastern European though. So yeah, we'll have to figure out a system. I think we'll skip the interviews this time just because honestly I did not devise a system for how we're gonna do this, but we'll set up a party where we can invite the drivers to for next week and get some podium interviews for these guys. Yeah, thank you all for tuning in. It's been honestly a pleasure to be here. It's a great race, and Vito says congratulating my Croatian, bro. Yeah, I trust that is Croatian. I don't speak either language, but yeah, thank you all for tuning in. It's been great. We'll see you, like I said, this Friday. And obviously this Sunday again. So been a pleasure. We've officially launched Season 4, and it's going to be an exciting 18 weeks of racing. We got 16 races in those 18 weeks, so lots of racing to go and lots of action to be had. Thank you all for tuning in, guys. Have a good one.